First shots today with the Otter Labs Polonium K. The dream rifle build is finally complete. Welcome back to the channel. You're watching Sawtooth Tactical, and this is the Otter Labs Polonium K. It's a dedicated 5.56 suppressor, and it was the final piece to my dream rifle build. So I feel like this video was a long time coming because, as has generally been the case with suppressors, you usually have to wait a long time for them. Now, I know that that is not really true anymore, but I did wait almost 5 months for this one. Now, of course, compared to the over 11 months I waited for my first suppressor, not that long. But still, after this whole rifle was done, the one thing I was still waiting for was this suppressor. So after taking it out for one day, I went and put a bunch of rounds through it earlier today. How do I feel about it? Well, we'll get to that in the video, but I've got a smile on my face. So if you want to know more about this can, make sure you're subscribed, and let's begin. All right, let's shoot a few into the dirt and just see how it sounds. The first thing that we need to talk about when suppressing around like 5.56 is the fact that 5.56 is naturally a supersonic round. Now, I know that subsonic 5.56 does exist, but it's generally not going to cycle a semi-automatic gas gun reliably. And so 99% of us that are shooting 5.56 are shooting a supersonic round. Now with my other couple suppressors, 300 Blackout, 9mm, you can get subsonic rounds for both of those. And the way suppressors work is that they trap and slow down and cool the hot expanding gases that would be coming out of your muzzle, reducing sound signature, flash signature, and even recoil. But what they can't do is they can't get rid of that supersonic crack when a supersonic round passes the sound barrier. And so there's only so quiet that you can make 5.56. And so with that in mind, I went out to shoot my Polonium K for the first time today. And I gotta admit, for what I was expecting, this thing is awesome. Now, it's the Polonium K. K meaning compact. That's basically what a K can is. It's a short can. Now, physics are a thing, and so the bigger a can is, the more effective it can generally be. More volume usually equals more suppression. But I did a lot of research before I got this one, and it's generally well accepted that the Otter Labs Polonium K is about as effective as many other cans that are bigger than it and also more expensive than it. So this was specifically the suppressor that I wanted for this build, which goes along with the theme of this build, being that I basically made sure that I got exactly every part that I wanted. Now this suppressor isn't only going to be run on this build. As you can see, I'm using the Silencer Co. ASR Bravo QD mount on here. Silencer Co. ASR 3-prong flash hider, pinned and welded of course on the 14.5 inch. And I've also got Silencer Co. ASR brakes on all of my other 5.56 guns now. And so this can will be used on all of them. But I did kind of specifically get it for this gun. And part of the reason I went with a K can is because a 14.5 inch barrel is relatively long in my opinion. And I didn't want it to just be a giant musket. And so you have to weigh those things when it comes to a suppressor. What is more important to you? Size, weight, sound suppression, blowback, because we will talk about that in this video. You're going to have kind of pros and cons with all of those. But this one does have a very good balance in my opinion, and we're going to get into it. So if that is something that you're into, well then this video is for you. I'd like to thank Otter, which is the sponsor of this video. Firearms can protect you and your family and your household from a lot of threats and provide you with a certain amount of security. Well, Otter can provide you with security from the things that you don't see and protect you from those threats. I've been using it for a few months now. When I first got it, I Googled my name and there was a lot of stuff that came up. And then I signed up with Aura and I watched as they took each and every one of those things off of the internet so that my information wasn't out there anymore. They do a lot of things, including identity and credit monitoring, password manager, antivirus protection. They have a VPN, home title monitoring, and then the big one is data broker removal. As you guys probably already know, scammers are a huge part of life now, which really sucks. But the way that they get your information is from data brokers. And Aura goes out there and they find those data brokers that have your information and they submit opt-out requests on your behalf, removing your information off the internet so that scammers don't have access to you anymore. The big thing that it's helped me with is I don't get spam calls anymore, and I've noticed that over these last few months that I've been using it. I just have stopped getting spam calls. If you want to support this channel, Sawtooth Tactical, the best way to do that is to sign up for Aura. You get 2 weeks free if you use my link, which is aura.com/sawtooth-tactical. And then it's only $12 a month for all of those things that I listed earlier. I really appreciate what Aura has done for the channel. And I appreciate that they sponsor firearms related channels. It says a lot to me about who they are. I value my privacy and I also value yours. Now, having said that, 5.56 is supersonic. There's only so quiet you're gonna get it. And this being a K-can, there's really only so quiet you can get it. How did I feel about the sound signature with this can? I was actually very, very impressed. Now, I did wear Ear Pro while I was shooting today. I'm shooting 5.56, again, supersonic. Honestly, I usually wear Ear Pro even when I'm shooting 300 blackout subs, 9mm. I just think it's smart, and then it's just even that much quieter. But honestly, God, this really made this gun that much more of a joy to shoot. This was already a nice, soft recoiling, soft shooting gun. But with the suppressor on it, even more so. Plus, it was a lot quieter. For the size of this can and the price of this can, which we'll get into, it really does a good job. And Otter Creek Labs, you guys did an amazing job with this can. Now, it does have its drawbacks, and we'll get into those too. First drawback, generally being back pressure. Now, there's a lot of flow-through cans on the market these days. This is not one of them. This is a traditional baffle stack can with a very small bore. Now, I did make sure that it was concentric to the thread so that I didn't get any baffle strikes. And how I did that? Well, I didn't use a barrel rod. All I did was I took the bolt carrier group out of the upper, looked through it with the can on, and I didn't see any suppressor at the end of the tunnel. Thank you, Dougie. But obviously, no baffle strikes. I ran a bunch of rounds through it today. I mag dumped some of them. I really got into it. I got this thing hot as hell. It was smoking by the end of the day, and I definitely inhaled some freedom gases. And that's the thing with this. With a can of this design, it's going to be quieter, generally, than a flow-through design, which is really nice. But it's going to have a lot more gas in your face, and it definitely did. So I was shooting this. I got a lot of gas today. In fact, at one point, I was shooting pretty fast. I could literally feel the particles hitting my face. But did it bother me? Not really. I was still smiling because that's just kind of the taste and the smell of freedom, in my opinion. And I think that a lot of people overstate the gas thing. Is it really as bad as you say it is? Not really. I'd still much rather shoot suppressed than unsuppressed. I've been waiting for this day for a very long time. The OCL Polonium K on my dream rifle build. I feel like this gun's finally complete. Johnny, is it a red label yet? Anyway, thing sounds great. It is a little gassy, but that's to be expected. But now, talking about the back pressure, we're also going to have to talk about buffer tuning. When I built this gun, this Roscoe barrel is pretty lightly gassed. And so I started with a Geisley Super 42 H2 buffer, and it didn't really run perfectly reliably. It didn't lock back every time in the last round, and sometimes it wouldn't even pick up the next round. So I replaced one of the tungsten weights in my buffer with a steel weight, effectively making it an H1 buffer, and it's been perfectly reliable and soft shooting ever since. But once I added the suppressor to it and all that extra back pressure, well, this gun is now overgassed. My ejection pattern was way forward today, and it still felt super duper soft shooting compared to any of my other 5.56 guns, which is a testament to this gun and this build. But what it means to me is that if I'm going to run this gun suppressed all the time, which I am, because at this point, why would I run any of my 5.56 guns unsuppressed when I have a suppressor that quick attaches to all three of them? Well, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make this into an H2 buffer again. And we'll do a video about that. I did a video about buffer tuning when I first built this gun, and people really liked that video. And so we're going to do a video about tuning with a suppressor, because you could tune a couple different ways with your gas system and also with your buffer system. And when you add a suppressor, well, that is another big part of that equation. And so you're going to have to take that into account, especially depending on what kind of suppressor you have. Now with a flow-through can, you might not need to tune it much. With a baffle stack can like this, with a lot of added back pressure, I mean, you don't need to. This gun ran great today and it was a joy to shoot. But if I want to reduce a little bit of that gas to the face, increase the lock time of the bolt carrier group, just make it a little bit softer shooting, well, there's things we can do about that. And so, in my opinion, we might as well, right? This thing is so soft shooting with this can on it. I absolutely love it. But how was the shooting experience with the Polonium K? It was fantastic. This was a video, actually this was just a day that I've been very excited about, really looking forward to for a long time. In fact, when I got up this morning and I started loading mags, this was the most excited I've been to go shooting since the day I got my Prodigy. I've been looking forward to this suppressor for a long time. I did a lot of research on it before I got it, and I just knew that I was getting something really good. It's widely known that the OCL Polonium K is almost the best you can get in its price point and its size point. And after one day of mag dumping at steel targets and kind of just into the dirt sometimes, I can attest to that. This thing sounds great. And it just makes an already soft shooting gun that much more pleasurable to shoot. With suppressor wait times being as quick as they are right now, there's not really any excuse not to run suppressed anymore. I get it. If you're against the whole tyranny and paying a tax stamp, you already pay taxes on all kinds of other stuff. Might as well pay a tax for something that you'll really enjoy and will make your shooting experience that much better. And this can does that. If you're on the fence about a suppressor, or especially about an Otter Creek Lab suppressor like the Polonium K, don't be. Well worth the money. This thing really made it very quiet, quieter than I thought 5.56 could be. And so that to me, that's impressive. Now, yes, added gas to the face, absolutely. Am I going to tune this buffer to make it run even better suppressed? Yes, I am. But the first day out with a bunch of rounds through it, was it everything I hoped it would be and more? Also, yes, it was. This suppressor is fantastic, and I recommend it to anybody. Now, the Silencer Co. ASR system, do I recommend that as well? Well, I do. Again, I've only ran it for one day so far, but I did pin and weld this 3-prong to my 14.5 inch, so it better work for me, and it did. This, it threads on, easy as pie, and then it's got this locking collar, and the thing's not going anywhere. It's solid. I didn't get any baffle strikes. I wasn't timid with it. I ran it pretty decently today. and it held just like it should. So I think that the ASR system so far, super happy with it. It's not super big, it's not super heavy, and it looks damn good too. And you know, looking good is important. She's a gassy girl now, that's for sure. But other than that, I absolutely love it. We're gonna try a little farther back here. Let me know down in the comments if you have experience with Otter Creek Labs suppressors. So far, I'm very impressed. Plus, I think that they have pretty much the coolest logo of any company out there. I mean, the Otter with the nods and a badass gun with an EOTech, kind of looks like mine. I think that's pretty cool. They're just a cool company. They're making affordable suppressors that are also very high quality and very effective. Do they have added back pressure? Yes, they do. And everyone knew that. I knew that going into this can. Is that big of a deal? Not really, at least not to me. Like I said, that's just the taste and the smell of freedom, in my opinion. Kind of reminds me of when I first started shooting AR-15s. That smell, well, it brought it all back today because I was definitely getting that gas to the face. And yeah, can you get, you know, a charging handle that'll, you know, mitigate some of that gas? Yeah, you can. Will I? Nah. I already got an OD Green Radiant Raptor on here. That gas is not as big of a deal to me as a lot of people I think make it out to be. Is it going to make your gun dirtier? Yeah. This gun was totally clean before I started shooting today, and that is a BCM tan bolt carrier group. And it's pretty black. Is it going to make your gun hotter? It is. Dude, this suppressor was literally smoking at the end of my range session today. And this Geisley rail here was hotter than it has ever been before. I've never noticed this rail really get hot before in any uncomfortable way. And it was getting really hot to the touch today. Did I need a glove? No. I was still able to hold it and shoot just fine, but it was getting there. If I'd put a couple more mags through it, this might have been hard to hold on to. So yeah, this suppressor, it's gonna put gas into your rifle. Is it also gonna be very effective for its size? It is. And that's the difference, you know? You can run a low back pressure can, and there's a lot of benefits to that. Or you can run a high back pressure can, and there's a lot of benefits to that too. It just depends what you want to get out of your suppressor. And what I wanted out of this suppressor was a compact size and effective sound suppression. And I got that. And so I'm very happy with it. Plus, it completes the aesthetic of this rifle in a really good way. And it looks great on these other ones too. I mean, guns should be suppressed these days. You know, I mean, if you can get them as fast as you can now, there are so many good manufacturers and so many good suppressors on the market. You might as well just go for it. Oh my God, I am very, very happy with this suppressor, with this rifle, with the weather, with this whole day. This is beautiful. Suppressed shooting really is just so much more, I don't know, satisfying for some reason than unsuppressed shooting. With wait times as short as they are right now, I highly recommend getting yourself a suppressor. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Please share it with anyone that you know that is interested in suppressor related content. Make sure you subscribe to Sawtooth Tactical. And from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.